Hello, my name is Lisa Shea, and today we are going to be working on the letter Y. We're going to draw it with pencil. We're going to trace it over with a pen and ink, which is waterproof, and then we are going to paint it in with watercolors. Let me know if you have any questions anywhere along the way. If you type in the comments, I'm happy to respond back with suggestions or comments. Alright, letter Y comes in all shapes and sizes, especially if you look at medieval letters. And you can draw it in many different ways and still have it look like a letter Y so people know what you're after. So I think I'm going to draw it with two top pillory areas. Swoop. Like that. I think I need to turn this to be able to get my hand in here. Alright. I think I want the inside here to be a little thinner. This is why you have a good eraser and a pencil that can be erased easily. Because often it'll take a couple of tries before you see what shape really makes you happy. You might try it in one way and say, okay, I sort of like this part of it. I want this part to be curvier. It's all about what you are seeing in your head. Alright, I am liking that. And for some reason, I am seeing this middle part as like a fishbowl. Into which I'm going to draw Alright, so we're doing a fish. One of my young nieces likes pink spiky fish. So make a spiky fish in honor of her. Let's do portholes. This being sort of a nautical theme. What else? Well, I think that might be enough. Normally I'd put butterflies or things around the outside, but with this being about the fish, I think it's better just to have it have the base structure and the fish. Alright, so once you've got the pencil part done, you draw the pen and ink over it. So again, it should be a waterproof pen. I use a Sakura Jelly Roll 06 because it's what is in the house. But you can use whatever waterproof pen you want. The only thing that matters is that it's waterproof, so that when we get to the watercolor stage, the ink does not smear. This is a time to start thinking about what colors you'll want to be painting this. I think I will go with blues. Go a lighter blue for the water, a darker blue for the Y, and then not sure about the fish. Usually I make the fish pink, but I think I might do something different here. Maybe more of an orange. Combination of orange and blue is always a pretty one. Alright. Alright. So now we've got a Y shape. We've got a fish in it. We will let that dry for just a minute. Now I'm looking at my colors and thinking maybe I want the Y to be purple, so we have purple and blue, so it's not just blue, blue, and blue. So I think I will go with that. Go with a Phoenix Violet. Remember, if you want colors to be darker or richer, just put on another layer or two, and usually that will kick the color up a bit. Funny that my cat was climbing all over me earlier, and now she is off happily snoozing somewhere. So it just goes to show, if you've got a challenge, often if you're just patient and understanding, challenge will morph into something else. In this case, a contentedly sleeping cat, probably over by a sunny window. She just wanted a little attention for a while. Alright, so I got that part filled in. Now to do the rest of this one. I also keep thinking that this would look like a cute design for a letter H if it was upside down. Maybe at some point I'll have to do an H like this and make a little house out of it. That's the fun of doing these letters, is that you work on one letter and then you come up with ideas for other letters and it just feeds off of itself. Just trying to make sure that these sections work smoothly in with the pre-existing stuff. So it all feels integrated. I have several friends with Y names. Y is such a lyrical letter. Names like Yvonne and Igraine and so on. Yvette. I like my letters to be a little lighter up near the top, where conceivably they are closer to the area's light source. And conversely, that means I like them to be a little darker down in their bottom areas, where you would think that they would be more in the shadow. And it's all the same color and all the same general darkness slash value, so on. But sometimes the little subtle differences add something to your painting. Alright, that means I want this tail area to be a little darker too. Just Got a bit too light down here. All right. Dark areas there. All right. So I think you get the sense of it. Let's put this fish in here. A nice orange. This is a Phoenix orange over here. And for some reason, it's just not very good at dissolving under the water. You'll find that different colors behave differently because of the types of pigments and binders that are involved with them. So you might think of all watercolors as acting the same, but they can actually act fairly differently from each other. Let's use a lighter color here. Alright, we have to let that dry before we can do the blue part. So now the question is about those portholes, and I think I'm going to do them in gold. I have this gold color right here, which I am nearly out of. I have plenty more in a tube, but I've been trying to use up this little dollop that I made so that I can clean this area off and make a fresh batch. So this will be a perfect time to use up the rest of this gold on these spots. Yep, the beauty of watercolor is that when it dries like this, where you used a little bit for some sort of a purpose, you just re-wet it and it becomes perfectly fine again. So there's very little waste in watercolor. Even these little tiny snippets that I had left over are still perfectly usable for doing little accent spots with. Alrighty. So we got some highlights for the letter yellow. Letter Y. I think I want the fish itself to be more orange, but let's at least get the first layer of blue in there. And I think I'll go with the cerulean blue. Again, it's good to make sure that your adjacent areas are nice and dry before you start painting so that you don't end up with the paint merging into each other and forming a gigantic gray lake. Oops. Alright, so just made a little incursion of blue into my fish. So I will show you how to fix that in a second. Let me just get the rest of this painted in first. Alright, I think I've gotten it all fairly well integrated. Alright, so if you have a color that you got in the wrong spot by accident, what you do is you thoroughly rinse your brush off so it's nice and clean. And then get it so it's a little damp. And then just sort of dab, erase at the spot that has the color you don't want. And it acts sort of like a sponge drawing up that color. So you want it mostly dry, with still a little bit of dampness so it's able to pull the color up. See, so it does a pretty good job of pulling the color up. Alright, so now I'm going to get some of that orange. I think I'll use some of this orange because this orange works a little better. Put a bit of the brighter orange in there. I was just working on the blue, so with this orange I'm staying towards the center of the orange area. So the orange does not get near that blue that I was just working on. So there, that way it stays in the center. Alright. So since I still have a little of this gold left here, I'm going to make some little golden spots around the edge of the purple. Just little small ones to add some visual interest. Don't want them to interfere too much with my portholes, but it just adds a little more fun to the image. And plus, like I said, I have this gold over here that I want to use up anyway, so that'll give me a purpose for it. Alright, so we got the little dots going up there, down the other side. The little dots go this way. Up around here. Alright, so that's pretty subtle, but again, if we turn this a little bit, you should be able to see that it's shimmering and doing things from different angles. So a little bit of extra highlight and interest to the piece. Alright, I could do things to the fish, but the fish is still wet, and I don't know that I want to do too many other things to him. I mean, I could add gold spots to him or something like that. The center of those gold portholes, I could add a little bit of something in there. I have this silver right here. I think maybe what I'll do is add a little dot. Center of each porthole. Again, just something to add a little interest, since I don't have the butterflies and vines and things I might normally add to something like this. There we go. Alright. And we'll sign it. And there you have a sort of medievally illustrated watercolor pen and ink letter Y. So let me know if you have any questions or comments or suggestions or things you'd like to have help with. I am happy to help. Have a wonderful afternoon.